relentless in spirit. You're listening to The Charlie Kirk Show.
All right, everybody. I want to tell you about our good friends over at Refy. Refy refinances distressed and defaulted private student loans that others will not touch. And by the way, these are different than federal student loans, okay? So that's a whole other bag. Ball of wax. That's the expression I was looking for. It's a whole other ball of wax. Private student loans total about $300 billion in the U.S., and $45 billion of them are labeled as distressed or defaulted. So if this is you and you find yourself in a position where you cannot cover your monthly bills, you got to call the folks over at Refy. They can help you. They're going to custom tailor a solution that fits your financial circumstance individually. And that's the point. You're not going to be in a one-size-fits-all. They're going to work with you individually, and they're going to get you an interest rate under 6%. That's a guarantee, assuring affordability and financial relief. They will also even let you skip a payment every 6 months, up to 12 times without penalty. So you do not have to ignore that mountain of student loan statements that's building up on your kitchen table anymore. You can call the folks over at Refy. Do it today, 888-YREFI34, or call yrefy.com. That's YREFY.com. Again, call them 888-YREFI34. They are great people. Saw them last weekend, and they are just 100% on board with this country, patriotic causes, really amazing people. YREFI.com. May not be available in all 50 states, but if it is, then you need to check them out in your state. Blake, we have some clips. I don't know how long's our people need to remember just what Netflix has been up to.
I think that's what. Do we have time to play?
I don't know. We got 30 seconds here before Welcome Back Radio. I don't know how long the clip was. So
I don't know.
We got to hold it. We got to hold it. All right, we're going to hold it more with Allum Bokhari. He's been on the show multiple times throughout the years, but we've addressed that. We're also now going to touch on what's happening in Europe, the fines through the Digital Services Act that are targeting Elon, and what those implications are here at home, because they are profound, and what we can do to help stop the censorship online. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Charlie Kirk Show. Allum Bokhari is with us. He's a digital expert. He's been covering censorship and the digital ecosystem for many years. Allum, explain what's going on. We've talked about it a little bit on the show already. What's going on with the DSA, Elon Musk, X versus Meta. It's over these blue check marks that you pay $8 a month to be verified on the platform. They're saying something was untoward there, but doesn't Meta also have paid verification?
It does, and just to put this in context, the EU Digital Services Act is probably the most dangerous censorship law in the world when it comes to online speech. It was brought in a couple of years ago, actually with the cooperation and encouragement of the Biden administration. And X was the first company to be investigated under the DSA after, months and months of threats from European bureaucrats. That actually began right after Musk took over the company. So as soon as Musk took over Twitter, turned it into X, and started talking about how he's going to dismantle its internal censorship process, that's when the threats from European bureaucrats started. X became the first company to be investigated, first company to be fined. It's $120 million euros. That's about $140 million. And if X doesn't comply, then the EU has the power to impose periodic penalties of up to 5% of a company's average daily worldwide turnover for each day of non-compliance. That's a massive, massive fine. No company can withstand that. And let's talk about why they were fined. So the EU points to three things. One of them, as you said, was subscriber checkmarks. That's the second two things. Number one, not giving researchers, quote unquote researchers, access to Twitter's ad repository, and not giving those same researchers access to Twitter's data, or allowing researchers to scrape the platform for data. Now, all three of those things are directly related to online censorship, even if they don't seem so at first. The subscriber checkmarks is how Twitter insulates itself from advertiser pressure, because it gives us a stream of revenue that's not connected to ad revenue. So ad boycotts have less of an impact. Number two, making sure researchers have access to ad repositories. That's so the so-called disinformation researchers, who are the foot soldiers of censorship, they're the ones who build lists of disfavored content, who build lists of speech to censor and lists of advertisers to pressure for boycott. That's how they operate. That's why they need access to X's ads so they can see what ads are running. And they also need access to Twitter's public data so they can analyze it at scale, figure out which users are talking about the wrong things, which narratives are going viral. Without that access, disinformation researchers are blind, and disinformation researchers are essentially the Stasi of the worldwide censorship complex that was funded by the previous administration and is funded by Western governments to control the internet.
Exactly. Do you know about Travis Brown, Andrew?
No.
Yeah, you remember this story, right? Right, Allum? He's the Antifa-aligned researcher. The German government funded this guy named Travis Brown to scrape the data off of, I believe it was Twitter at the time, off of Twitter and then X, and then he would just give this to people aligned with Antifa to dox people. So, for example, I believe when Libs of TikTok got doxed, it was with information that he got off the website.
Andy Ngo was involved.
Yeah, they went after Andy Ngo as well, and I think the post-millennial. I think all of them got targeted by this guy, and he's considered a researcher. And this is one of the researchers that the European Union is saying you need to give open access to data. I just think it's the most obvious thing in the world. What they want is to permanently use misinformation, hate speech, safety. Like, these are all the buzzwords that they've used, that they used in America before 2022 to just justify unlimited censorship.
Yeah, and Allum, I mean, you do have an accent. We can hear you're not from here. You know, Musk is calling, he's basically saying Western civilization can only be saved if the EU is abolished. I mean, Musk is not holding anything back. He is painting the EU as the chief villain in this story. Do you agree? What can be reformed? I mean, they seem wholly committed to censorship. 1 minute.
Yeah, I mean, the European Union has, and European bureaucratic elites have the most incentive to shut down online free speech, because look at what's happening in their countries, France, Germany, the Netherlands, Sweden. In all of these countries, young people are turning towards the populist right, and they're turning towards the populist right because they have free speech on the internet, because they can see information that challenges mainstream narratives. And European elites know if they don't shut that down, it'll be over for them and the political parties that support them. They'll just melt away as young voters take over.
Yeah, I mean, you would know better than us. However, what's happening in these countries is truly remarkable, Allum. And I mean, you're seeing the disintegration of the Christian West by mass migration, and young Europeans are fed up with it, as we are, honestly, in the United States. However, we do have a more robust free speech culture. The whole world sort of looks to American conservatism to get their talking points, to get their inspiration. Allum, we hope you'll join us again as this story unfolds. I know there's going to be more twists and turns in the coming weeks. So thank you so much, Allum. We're going to talk TPUSA Frontlines next.